What's up, you guys? Today we are training upper body. This is going to be upper body class, more so focused on the posterior chain. So a lot of upper back extension today, a lot of training of tissue between the shoulder blades, getting into the back delt. So mostly the trunk area. All you'll need for today is a pencil, a small object. This will be used for a fulcrum point, something that you can comfortably lay on. And I'm sure that you have this. I was going to say, if you don't have it, which you have something that you can use. So a pencil, a pen, a marble, I don't know, something small that can be used as a fulcrum point. Weights are optional. We're going to do 2 sets of 4 exercises. The last set is optional to load. So if you have some 3-pound dumbbells around, 4-pound, 5-pound, or ankle wrist weights, those will work. And then yoga blocks. And that's all you will need for today. We are going to start off with some T-spine extension passive range holds. For that, you will need your pen or pencil, whatever you have. I'm going to show the setup. We are going to do 5 reps of 6-second holds. So when we are talking about spine extension, usually most people will have a chunk in their T-spine that they have no awareness of, that they don't feel, that they can't move, that they never train. Most people are going to have more awareness, more movement in their low spine. So with these sets, I want you to train the area of your spine that you have less awareness, less movement, so that we can improve that area. And just an example to show, I have a lot of mobility in my low back. So if I were to do a spine extension, just with no context, I immediately will dump everything into my low spine just because I move well there. I have a lot of mobility there. I don't have as much mobility in my upper spine, which would be kind of between the shoulder blades. So this would be low back extension. If I move my elbows further up, you can see the extension crawling up higher into my T-spine. And that is where we want to train the passive range holds. So with your pin, you are going to find an area in your T-spine, somewhere in between the shoulder blades around this area here. You can pick a spot. We're going to do 2 sets of this, remember? So the first set, you can pick a spot. Second set can be a different spot or the same. But as long as it is somewhere on the rib cage. On the opposite end of that spot, you're going to place your fulcrum point, your pen or pencil, and that is where you are going to do your holds. Your hands are going to come onto the floor here, and then you are going to use your hands to passively help you find that extension on that point that you picked. In the upper back, remember, we are not training low back, so if you tend to kind of dump everything into your low spine, something that helps me is if I bias a little more posterior tilt of my pelvis, kind of scooping my pelvis underneath me so that I stay out of my low spine. I want you to feel more stuff in the upper spine. Once you can feel and access that upper spine extension, you will hold here for 6 seconds. Now you can keep your hands on the mat. If you have the strength to do so, you can start to deload your hands from the mat, maybe taking the heel of your palms off, maybe the fingertips completely leave. It's up to you and how much strength and control you have in that upper spine. But what I don't want to happen is you just make this harder just for the sake of making it harder, and you have lost all focus and intention of where we are trying to load, which is more so the upper spine. So if you release your hands from the ground and then everything just goes into the low back, you've lost the point of why we're doing this. We're trying to load the upper back. So keep your hands on the ground as much as you need. use your hands. Here we go, going into our first set. Try not to allow your body to completely leave that pin. Set up in your base position, and we're going to hold here for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1, lowering all the way down. Here we go again. Use your hands, pressing into the mat to find that upper back extension here. Squeezing the upper back muscles can help deload hands from the ground, sending more load into the back. We're here for 3, 2, and 1. Lower all the way down. Remember that we're not training the low spine, so if you're feeling low back tightness or discomfort, you probably don't have the control to be up so high. So decrease your height until you find more upper than lower. Here we go. This is rep 3, pressing yourself up to find that upper back extension. Hold here for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down, reset. Press up again. Squeeze the upper back stuff. Tuck the pelvis if you need for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more rep here. Again, pressing up. Feeling upper, less of lower. Hold here for 6, or you can keep your hands on the ground as much as you need. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower down. Woo! So if you're feeling tension or tightness, it should be somewhere along the T-spine where your shoulder blades is. And this is a great exercise to oppose any excessive flexion that we kind of spend most of our time in throughout the day. This whole class actually is great for that. So if you deal with like nagging shoulder pain between the shoulder blades and upper back stiffness and tightness, this can help send more strength inputs into that area. Go ahead and remove your pencil. We're going to do scapula retractions. So hands are going to be on the floor. My hands are right by my chest rib cage. They are not all the way up to my shoulders. So make sure you bring them a little bit down here. Your palms will stay on the mat for these 10 reps of scap retractions. I want you to pretend that there is a blueberry in between your shoulder blades and that you want to crush that blueberry and then release, let it go. That's rep 1. Here we go. We have 10. Squeeze, crush. That's 2. Squeeze. That's 3. Really try to create a little bit of fatigue between those shoulder blades. 4. Squeeze. 5. Squeeze. 6. Relax your upper traps, or just try not to get them all the way up to your ears. That's 7. Again, 8. Squeeze, crush the blueberry. 2 more. 9. Last one. Squeeze. 10. Awesome. We're going to add a lift off here. So here's your demo rep. Just tagging on to that scap retraction. First you retract, squeeze, crush the blueberry. Then you lift off. That would be 1. Lower down. We have 10 reps of those. Here we go. Squeeze, lift. That's 2. Squeeze, lift. That's 3. Squeeze, lift. 4. Squeeze. 5. Fatiguing those shoulders. 6. Squeeze. Lift. 7. Squeeze. 8. Squeeze. Lift. 9. One more here. Squeeze. 10. Woo. All righty. moving on to some rotation. So you're going to grab your yoga block. We're going to do unilateral, so one side at a time. You might or might not need a yoga block depending on the mobility of your shoulder joint. Excuse me. Okay, we're going to test our rotation first just to see if you need that block or not. All you're going to do is bring your left arm to like a gold post position, elbow generally in line-ish with your shoulder. You're going to make a fist and you're going to rotate, external rotation, lower down. So if you have a hard time getting your forearm off of the ground, maybe it's about like this high, you probably won't need that block. If you would like to try the block will go underneath your elbow like so, and then you'll do your lift off squeeze there. We're now sending that tension into rear delt stuff. So our scap retractions, lift offs were more so kind of between the shoulder blades. Now that tension is going to be felt more in the rear delt. And I didn't say this in the beginning of class, but if you have some sort of tennis ball, lacrosse ball, something to squeeze to create a little bit more irradiation, tension in your shoulder, that is going to be a great prop tool for you to use. We have 10 lift-offs on the left, and then we'll do 10 on the right. Make sure as you're doing these rotational lift-offs that you don't start to use your upper trap to do it, and also that the entire arm lifts off, because we are training rotation, not shoulder retraction here. So here we go. 10 reps. Pick your setup, whatever feels best for your shoulder. Squeeze that ball if you have one, or your fist, and then rotate, lift off. That's one. Watch out for any wrist extension. Keep that wrist straight. This is 2. Squeeze the back delt. 3. Again. 4. 5. 6. 7. Really squeeze at that end range. Don't just flop it in the air to drop it down. 8. 9. Last one. 10. Whew. On to the other side. Grab your block. Don't assume that one shoulder is going to be the same as the other shoulder. So do your test rep to see if the block makes sense for you. If you do have a block, it's going to be underneath your elbow. By the way, I just flipped my entire position just so you can see me on the camera. You don't have to actually flip. Okay, hold your lacrosse ball, squeeze your fist, create tension into the forearm all the way into the bicep. Here's our first lift off. Squeeze back delt. That's 1. Squeeze. That's 2. Squeeze. 3. 4. Make sure you're squeezing at those in ranges and just not lifting to lower. Squeeze the tissue. This is tissue training. This is in range strength training. 6. 7. 8. Keeping that wrist strong. 9. Last one. 10. Whew. All right, you guys, we have one more set of all of those exercises. For this set, this is where you can load your exercises. I'm also going to introduce some other base position options to increase load or difficulty. So You'll grab your fulcrum point, and just a little refresher. Remember, we are trying to find a point in the spine. So for me, I'm going to choose somewhere around here because I know that I need to train extension more in this upper back because I live in flexion here. So we want to train the area that doesn't move well, and we're trying to stay out of excessive lumbar extension because our intention is T-spine, not lumbar for today. So grab your pencil or pen, and wherever you kind of chose that spot, you're just going to place that object right on the other side of your body. For your holds, we have 6-second holds, 5 reps of those 6-second holds. So I have my pen here. My hands will be right by my side. Since I have excessive mobility in my lumbar spine, for me, biasing a little posterior tilt of the pelvis helps so much that it creates a little bit of lightness in my low abs from sinking into the ground. So squeezing low core, squeezing glutes. Use your hands to press you up to find that extension. The pencil is a fulcrum point, so I don't want you to leave your object because we have it for a reason. Find extension right where you have your object. Squeeze your upper back muscles. You can keep your hands deload as much as you want or need to. Hold for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then you lower down 1. We reset. Find that extension on your fulcrum point. Hold it for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down, reset. Use your hands to press you up. Be very specific and intentional with where you are trying to train. Hold for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. We have 2 more. Press up. Find that sticky area. Check in with your low back. Make sure it is not doing all of the work. For 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Woo! 1 more. Press up. Hold it. Squeeze the upper back for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Oh, all right. Pen goes away. We have our scap retractions. That's the one where your hands stay on the ground. So just moving these out of the way. Your hands are going to be flat on the ground. We don't want to overwork our upper traps right now. So make sure that your hands aren't so close to your shoulders, but more so by your ribs. That way you'll get a little bit in like the lower trap area between the shoulder blades. Here we go. We have 10 reps. You're going to squeeze and release. That's 1. Squeeze, release. That's 2. Crush that blueberry. You have to make the effort work. That's 4. Squeeze. 5. Squeeze. 6. Last max effort reps. Here we go. Squeeze. 7. Again. Squeeze. 8. Fatigue those shoulders. Squeeze. 9. Keep the shoulder blades down. Squeeze. 10. Awesome. Okay, so now we're adding our lift offs. I'm going to show a progression from what we did in our first set using blocks. So for me, my lift off, I can get my hands off of the ground pretty, it's not that high, but I do have a little bit of space. If I wanted to challenge my in range of scap retraction a little bit more, I would put my hands on these blocks and then I'm forced to work a little bit harder here. So you can try it with blocks and then that lift off won't be so high for me now with these blocks here. If you do decide to do blocks, make sure that you have control of your shoulder blades and that they are not rounded forward like this on your rib cage. Keep your shoulder blades down away from your ears. Okay, here we go. We have 10 reps. You can use blocks or no blocks. Both are fine. Squeeze your abs, squeeze your booty. Here we go. We have retraction, squeeze, lift off. Ooh, lower down. We'll see how long I use these blocks. Retraction, squeeze the shoulder blades, and then lift. Ooh, lower down. Again, retract, lift, lower, retract, lift. Ooh, 5, retract, lift. 6, again, retract, lift. 7, 3 more, squeeze, lift. 8, again, squeeze, lift. 9, last one, squeeze, lift. 10. Ooh, that is not easy, and none of this should be. I want to insert this little tidbit cue that I was thinking about as I was going through my reps. Keep in mind this is shoulder training, and these scap retraction lift off exercises are not including your spine. Spine is a cheating mechanism to get more movement out of your shoulder blades in this position. And what that might look like is just moving the blocks. Let's say you are trying to retract and or lift off. If your upper back is going up with your shoulder blades like I just did, you are combining spine extension and shoulder retraction. I do not want both at the same time. I just want pure shoulder retraction. Boom. Pure lift off. Not you lifting your upper back off of the mat with the shoulder retraction. So just do some conscious blocking that doesn't happen. Okay. We have our rotations, external rotation. I have this 3-pound dumbbell, which we'll see how that goes. But if you had a block or no block on the other side, set yourself up same way. We're going to do 10 reps on the right, 10 reps on the left. You can use a ankle weight for this as well. Honestly, whatever weight you choose, and it can be much heavier than 3 if you are seasoned in this type of work and understand how it needs to be done. But don't just load it just to make it harder, and then we lose intention of what we're training. Okay, here we go. Right arm. We have 10 rotational lift-offs. Remember, we're loading back delt. Here we go. Lift. That's 1. Lift. 2. 3. Squeeze at the end. 4. 5. Squeeze those in ranges. 6. Keep that shoulder blade in its pocket. 7. 8. 9. Last one. 10. Woo. Let me tell you, recording workout videos and working out is not for the weak. Okay, I'm flipping my entire direction just so that you can actually see me on camera, but don't feel like you need to move your entire body the other way. Okay, here we go. Last few reps. Setting up. Weight or no weight, you have 10 lift offs. Squeeze that back delt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh God, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, squeeze. Ooh, those are spicy. Okay, you guys, we did 2 sets of that. If you want to do another set, please be my guest. You can just rewind the video and do the first or second set with load or no load. This is definitely a strength training circuit. Mobility is strength training. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Like I said, this is excellent to kind of oppose the movement that we, or the posture that we live in so frequently, which is a little bit more biased towards flexion, a little bit more rounded. So this will kind of help give you a little more strength input, train that upper back that we don't move very much, and the tissue around our shoulder blades, so it can start to feel a little bit better. I hope that you found this helpful. I appreciate any feedback, any video suggestions. You can leave them in the comment. Make sure you share this, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.